Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, or good day wherever you are in the world, and welcome to the next episode of No Dice, No Glory. Sponsored by our jobs that actually pay us money, we're coming to you not at all live from an abandoned arms factory deep under a mountain in West Virginia. We are proud to proffer to you the finest in wargaming coverage. Without any further ado, let's get this show on the road.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Tales of the Sale, episode 24. And I believe this is concluding our second year. We had a bit of time to reflect. We had a huge guest cast last time. And I think we're getting our third guest spot in a row from this poor guy. But we'll go around the horn. We've got Glenn, the gentleman farmer, Van Meter.
Hey, everybody.
We have Tyler, dinner at 9 p.m. Stone.
I ate at 7.
7, you savage. And we have Mike, the man Tunez.
How's it going, guys?
Mike, is this your third time in a row on here with us?
In a row?
I feel like it is.
I don't know about in a row.
Yeah.
I definitely did the last
I
one
think
with
it's
you guys.
second.
No,
I want to say it's only second.
No, because I think he was on last month for Fire on the Frontiers, and then the previous month he was on because we released the podcast that was from Historicon and we interviewed.
Oh yeah, the Historicon interview. Okay.
Yeah. This is 3
about that.
We've been very spoiled. We're very grateful.
I actually forgot I did that.
It's been
But also, like, I was just there. I was just walking around. And Mitch grabbed me and pulled me in.
That's how Mitch always works.
I was gonna say you'd be surprised how many people that happens to.
All 3 of us.
We're gonna go around the room and kind of let people run the room. You're not all here, so I have no perception of time anymore. Stuck in this house. We're gonna talk about what we've been up to. I'll start with Tyler. Let's start with Tyler this time.
So I still have the looking for article material because of the releases and previews that we've gotten. I think someone, probably Tom, added that I'm currently trying to tunnel out of Facebook jail with a Twisted T pull tab, and that is true.
That's fine.
What?
Nice. Trying to tunnel out of Facebook jail. Yeah, I haven't been able to post in the Firelock group. However, I did the Secret Santa gift exchange that Adam put together, and I got, man, how long we might have gotten it. I can't. He who shall not be named as my Secret Santa. And he sent me a personalized mini. It was really cool, and there's also a story that I will get to later when we talk about the New Year's resolutions that I did not make, or did not hit.
Yeah, he was very proud of the mini he made, and he justifiably so. I feel like he
did a really good job with it.
It was very cool.
Honestly, all his projects been killing it lately.
Yeah, he really has. I'm just gonna say it because he deserves to be said. It's a nice job, Preston. It's a good job. I'll take responsibility for saying Preston's name at least twice during the course of the podcast.
It's inevitable, you know it.
Yeah, the best part about the show notes is that when we copy them over again from the previous month, we can leave that you're banned on Facebook on there because we know that it'll probably still
it's 30
be true.
days at a time now.
Yeah, it's just 30 days at a time. It's like bite-sized, you know.
Yeah,
little bits.
It's just from podcast to podcast.
I can post it and then I'll just be back to the next one.
Anything else you've been painting? Games you played in the month of December?
No, I started getting enough stuff that I can go through and organize my basement and realized how much stuff I have. So I haven't been able to play any game. I haven't actually played any games since Historicon, to be honest. But I've been getting all of my stuff organized and counted and all my I's dotted and T's crossed to figure out where stuff is and get my basement cleaned up so that I can set up my 3D printer and start working on some terrain.
You know, I'll be honest, if it wasn't for Nigel, I wouldn't have gotten any game in between Historicon and this recording either. Because I managed to rope out a day to go down to Mythicos in Mawa which is now carrying some Firelock stuff on the shelves, which I'm very excited about. Because Mike, you got to talk to the head Mythicos guy when you were down at Historicon, right?
Yeah, I talked to Nelson and Nigel and a lot of those guys over there. Cool dudes. They got all the stuff. They got a lot of stuff from us at the con that they took back to their stores. So they got lots of Blood and Plunder and Oak and Iron for sure. I think they got some Blood and Valor as well.
A lot of it has been purchased. And literally while me and Miguel were playing our game, people were coming over and they were like, oh, do they have this stuff? And I was like, yeah, it's over there. And like they just like walked over and started getting it. So
that's good to know.
Yeah, I hope that I think Nelson asked us to do a sea battle demo. So I'll have my ships ready and stuff whenever they're ready to go. But I'll have some time in later January to go do that demo whenever they want. But I'll bother Miguel about it later. So I
still want to get out there and check that place out. It's within driving distance for me, but it's going to be like an all-day thing. Like I'm willing to make a drive, but not all the freaking time.
Let's plan to meet up then if you actually can, because it's only it's the Randolph location, which is farther south, which is probably the one that you're trying to hit. But I guess it depends on which direction you're coming in from Pennsylvania. But the Randolph one is about an hour and a half for me. So it like me, that might be halfway between the two of us. Or
Google says that's their HQ.
Yeah, Randolph's the HQ. Mawa is the new store, but that's much closer to me. It's under an hour if I'm lucky, which is impressive. Like that's because it's a great store. Staff's always super nice. I love doing demos and stuff for them. I'm going to do some more painting classes or terrain classes for them this year. Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting down to that store. I always have fun when I go down there. What else has been going on? I got my Secret Santa, Joshua Isom from Texas. He sent me some capers, and he sent me a very sweet note because he's like, if you don't like the paint job, I didn't seal it. It's like, paint job looks great, buddy. Like, I absolutely not going to change it. I love the color blue that you did for the coats. I posted a picture on the main forum. And I was psyched that Dexter Hyde got my Secret Santa thing. I sent him a treasure chest and a unit of Miliciano Indios that looks really cool next to his terrain. I was worried it would suffer by comparison, but I think it blends in nice. Yeah, just give another shout out to Dexter Hyde's Plunder Den. It's a really cool site. I've started looking up his videos. I'm going to try my horrifying attempt at building his Tudor house. And,
he has awesome YouTube videos. Yeah, really good tutorials.
Really good job. So I have my foam cutter. I have all the tools. I made like a gallon of wash with all the stuff I bought from Amazon. I'm getting these weird packages from Amazon. My wife's like, what is this? I'm like, don't worry about it. It's like every weird chemical or putty. What else am I doing? I'm going to be running a historical demo for my students. And I'm probably going to be writing an article for Military History magazine. It's about like teaching kids how to play war games. Like if I can get it done this month, it would come out maybe in February. But I need to take some pictures tomorrow because I'm doing the demo, and I'm getting observed by the superintendent. So that'll be an interesting day.
Yeah, maybe you'll get a raise.
No, I won't. That's not how it works.
I know.
There are benefits and drawbacks to being in the union, I suppose. I also tried my best not to eat the 10 pounds of cookies that my wife cooked for Christmas, but I haven't really succeeded. So I feel like I'm going to be regretting that for the rest of the year. Glenn, you've had a busy month.
Yeah. So
not hobbying.
Mostly not hobbying, no. So the baby ended up arriving about a week and a half early. It was Christmas due the 27th, scheduled on the 20th. Thank you. Scheduled for like a induction on the 20th, but the baby decided that the 10th was a good day to go. So
my second one did that almost 2 weeks earlier.
Yeah.
Messed up my Adepticon.
Say what? You skipped it and went to Adepticon? Is that what you said?
I said he messed up my Adepticon. That was the last Adepticon I did too. That was 2019.
You can tell that story in a minute. So, yeah, I had I had gotten my Secret Santa ready to go, but I was kind of like the backup guy in case somebody didn't get theirs off. I got one from Evan Botkin, some excellent English militia. They actually match the paint scheme of the English militia I have already pretty well. I'm very excited about them, although I've failed to post that on Facebook because I've been busy. But shout out to Evan Botkin. Thank you. So I got mine done, and I was waiting to hear from Adam about whether I needed to cover for anybody. And then the baby came, and then I've been busy. And in short, I have not gotten mine sent off to Adam because I'm a bum. But yeah, it's been baby, and then work kind of exploded when I finally did go back. And then it was COVID quarantine time because while work was exploding, of course, somebody had to throw coronavirus into the middle of that grenade.
And
So
I'm hearing a lot of excuses. And as somebody who has no children, I assume that it's easy having 3 kids. And so I'm just going to quietly judge you here from Connecticut.
well, being quarantined alone in my basement was easy because I had no kids for 3 days. My poor wife had to deal with everything. Luckily, my parents are helping. They're in town to help. But yeah, I have not gotten a ton of hobby stuff done. It's been mostly kids and kids.
Just see you having like, I used to have like the chicken pox parties as kids so that we could all get it while we were young. Just having COVID parties so that you can get locked in the basement for another week.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
no
I didn't
way.
even I had chickenpox when I was a kid. I didn't realize that there's a vaccine for that now that like has practically eliminated chickenpox.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got the vaccine as an adult because I never had it as a kid. I lived in fear with chickenpox for a while until I got the shot. Because when you get it as an adult, it's really bad.
Yeah, shingles.
It can be very
Mhm.
it's serious. So I'm glad I got the shot. Anyway,
But so Mike is explaining how a Adepticon works with pregnant wives.
yeah, we want to learn about this.
No, I was just saying that my son came early. The last time there was an Adepticon, it was 2019, and I was just actually I'm gonna go outside. It was 2019, and my son was born almost 2 weeks early. I think it was 2.5. I don't remember now, but he was very early, much earlier than we expected. Not quite a preemie, but close. He was like off by a few days, where he was like, all right, he's fine. But yeah, that stopped me from going to the last Adepticon there ever was.
Gosh. Well, you'll make it back. You'll get back there.
I
Yeah,
had thought
yeah.
you were saying that you were at Adepticon when you got the phone call.
Oh no. Yeah, that would have been super annoying.
Sorry, babe, I'm already here. You're good for a week, right?
I couldn't get away with that.
I can't imagine that going well. So Mike,
No.
what have you been busy with over the last month?
Well, not a whole lot over the last month, aside from just trying to get all this stuff out the door. Just trying to get Fire in the Frontiers rolling during the craziness of the holidays, and staying up on the Kickstarter manufacturing and production and everything. And that's pretty much that, and COVID has pretty much occupied all my time. I got COVID around Christmas, just before Christmas, and that knocked me out for a good week. I'm still sort of recovering. Not just me, but literally my entire family, my wife, my kids, my parents, my brother, my sister-in-law, and her family, and like my aunt, like everybody. So it's crazy. It's just like all the cool thing was we all had it around Christmas, so we all just hung out together since we all had it anyway. Everybody was just miserable hanging out with COVID for Christmas, but the kids, it doesn't really affect the kids very much, so they had a good time opening their gifts and all that. And the vast majority of just sleeping and on getting these things done, trying to recover from this madness.
So what is the current state of the union in terms of like when would we probably see Fire on the Frontier? When's the current Kickstarter date to give us the update?
Well, current Kickstarter date, we don't really have a date, more like a date range. So we know we're not going to beat the New Year for production, the Chinese New Year. So we're going to see production on the back end of the Chinese New Year. We hope before the New Year that everything is ready for production. That's what I'm pushing them on now. We got the ship done, as was posted in in an update that I meant to post many days ago, but the COVID has kept me down. But that was done. They finished the ship Christmas Day, and they sent me the stuff. So I'm waiting to get the actual sprues in the mail, and they've gotten lost in the mail or something because they've shown like in transit forever. So hopefully they show up any day now. But it's just more, the holiday delays of all the shipping and all that. But so the ship was a major obstacle that is finally done, 100%. And they sent me the picture that's there is the assembled ship, and I've looked at that, reviewed that pretty carefully, and it looks perfect. So,
Nice.
and the guys who did it are actually very impressed with it and very proud of themselves. So, they're. I mean, it took forever, so I would hope so. At least it looks like it was really worth the effort. I can't wait to get one in my hands and be able to show it off to you guys a little better. But that, and we've had some issues with the other plastic molds, with all the soldiers in the militia. Since there's a lot of repeat parts, they keep repeating certain, like we gave them a bunch of torsos, like the actual models with all the parts on them and all the iterations on each torso, and they kept mixing that up. So we had to go in depth and really break down each and every single part, which is incredibly tedious, and number each part and like sit there with just like a pen and circle things and say this is one of these, two of these, three of these, that kind of thing. And we finally got some good progress on that. So now that that's all resolved, we should be just cranking through the rest of the molds this month. And they're all in layout, so they're all ready to just be cut into the steel now. And they say they should have them all done this month. So we'll see. Hopefully that holds true. And then that's really all that's waiting in the wings. The rest of the Kickstarter stuff's pretty much ready to roll. It's just a matter of starting to print it. And then for Fire on the Frontiers, we've got the books are. So we used a new printer for shorter run stuff, and it's kind of like more of an automated process. It's a bigger company, so I don't have like that direct communication with somebody. All I know is that it's printing, and they tell me I should have it, that it should be shipping out to me. Originally, they said it should be shipping out on the 2nd, that it should be shipping out. Now it's saying it should be shipping out on the 10th. So I don't know. That's all I have. And then
making progress.
The manufacturing of the models is coming along nicely. There were some issues initially. I know I was talking to somebody about it. I don't think it was you guys because that would have been too long ago. But yeah, there were some issues with some of the models where we got the initial shipment of the models in, but there was a problem where a lot of the models were hollow on like the legs and stuff like that, and they would break really easy. So we had to get a bunch of those replaced, and that's all being done. And we should have those in sometime early next week. But next week, today being we're recording on the 4th. So it's all looking like it should coalesce. I imagine we'll start shipping I imagine we'll start shipping next week, with any luck. But worst case scenario would be the week after. So we've said the 17th to be safe, so we don't have to announce any more delays.
Cool.
But
I think our plan is to release this thing on the 11th, if I can get it edited by the weekend, and then just chat with Mitch about making sure I don't mess up the publication of it. But yeah, so by the time this comes out, the stuff might be on the move in terms of like the Fire on the Frontier, because you said you expect to get it soon.
So And then in other stuff, we've got a lot of progress from the other wings of Firelock that I don't do a lot of direct work with. But the World War II RPG, the War Stories RPG, is wrapping up. It's in layout. We've ordered some components for that, like dice, and we're looking at Game Master screens and things like that. So pre-order for that is coming up soon, and that's going to go direct to retail. Obviously, we don't want to launch a Kickstarter while we have to be waiting another Kickstarter. So, but so that's going to go up soon. I know a lot of people are excited for that. We have the Blood and Valor expansion is getting wrapped up, but Rufus keeps, like working and doing things that actually make him money. So that's slowed him down a little bit, but he is wrapping it up. We had to make we analyzed that project and we realized that it was getting a little bloated. I think he had something like 80 factions in there, and I said, "This is
good lord."
There's no way we're gonna have to, because obviously we got to test everything. So I said, "There's no way we're ever gonna have time to finish this. We need to trim this down some." So
was it going to be 1,000 pages too? Like
no, thankfully each faction is like 2 pages, but still it's a bit of a big book. That's another thing too. We don't want to make it like an $80 book either. So. Especially with the cost of printing and everything else going up. So, it's basically what's going to happen is the Russian Civil War is going to end up getting its own book later.
Oh,
so
that was what I was most excited for.
Well, you're still going to get some of it. So some of it's still going to be in there, but it's not going to go. We're not going to go into it in as. I think the Russian Revolution on its own had like. I want to say like 20 factions.
Yeah.
So there's something around there. It's a lot. So we've kept the main ones. So you can still do some basic Russian Civil War stuff, but just kind of like a basic list, and then
right.
So
then the other stuff. At least I think so. Rufus can confirm on that, but. I haven't seen the final edited manuscript yet, but he's done with all the lists, so now it's just play testing. So he's just trying to find time to finish testing all the lists, and we got some guys in Russia who are helping with that as well.
As soon as the rumor circulated between Rufus and Tyler that there might be a Russian Civil War supplement for this, there's like these North Star miniatures that had like all these they had like Lenin and Trotsky in like a Red Army uniform. These like 20 perfectly scaled, like over at the booth. And I think Tyler went out and got one. 2 of my friends went out and got one. To Lenin's helping capitalism out. So
yeah.
So Glenn, we have to build a white army to fight Tyler. So
yeah,
I will.
Is this supposed to be news?
No, I want to make sure that we're ready to deal with him because we need to turn this around. You and me, we can't let Tyler win.
Glenn's like already been stockpiling Stahlhelms at the farm. He didn't get the memo that you need this for Blood and Valor. He's just got a barn load of weapons packed in oil. Finest German imports.
So I don't steal your whole showtime with updates on Firelock. The last couple things is Blood and Steel, which some people got to play at Historicon, is wrapped up and done. So that is going to move into layout here relatively soon, and that is a Victorian era colonial, mostly colonial, skirmish game based on the Blood and Plunder system.
So are we looking more like Franco-Prussian War type period? I take it.
Yes, but I don't think the initial book covers that conflict specifically. It covers very specific conflicts. I know it covers Zulu Wars. And they have a bunch of lists. I don't remember exactly which ones have gotten into the book, but I think Second Seminole War is in there, Zulu Wars, Civil War, American Civil War.
Nothing famous happened during the Zulu War.
No, nothing at all.
Nice.
There's few other Spanish-American War is in there. A few, some interesting conflicts. So this covers kind of a gap between where Blood and Plunder will eventually end up in the timeline and Blood and Valor. So it fills that gap right in the middle nicely. So that's going to be out with any luck first quarter of this year. We might see that up for release.
Wow.
Because the book is totally done. We've done the photo shoot for it. It's just a matter of getting the book laid out. And edited. Editing is the only thing it's missing. It's been play tested. It's been the guys Edgar Pavon and Damien McComber have been working on that for like the last, I want to say, 1.5 years, 2 years, and they've been big Blood and Plunder players for a long time.
Do you nudge Rufus and point out that somebody else managed to develop a different rule set and publish a book in less time than he's done his expansion?
Oh, I remind him regularly. Don't worry.
As well you should.
So,
I think Rufus is getting too busy painting all of Miguel's miniatures because I feel like
that's fair.
Miguel's task is to like single-handedly put Kai through whatever schooling he wants,
right?
By sending him 15,000 miniatures to paint.
That's correct. But Kai just blows it all on like chocolate bars and miniatures.
And good for him.
Yeah,
he's living his best life.
Well,
so then,
Mike, if you have nothing else, go on.
No, yeah, I was going to say the last couple things. So we have Under the Black Sail, which is the pirate RPG game.
Ooh.
That has also been completed. That's also been completed, but is probably going to end up coming out later in the year. And then Blood and Crowns, which is our 100 Years War game based on Blood and Plunder, is also nearing completion. That one's going to be on the list that we're going to talk about later. But unfortunately, Eric Hansen has been writing that. He's done an excellent job, but life has just made it impossible for him to do the work he needs to finish it up, unfortunately. But we're making progress and getting there. So we have a solid date for him to have it done by the spring. So we're probably looking at a release for the summer for that one. But that one's cool. I'm excited about that one. The best part about that one is that it still keeps the ship aspect of the game from Blood and Plunder. So you get to sail around in cogs and things.
Oh, cool.
Can we put a fully armored mounted knight on a cog?
Yes, of course. You do it.
Yes.
Nice.
He suffers
Let
a
him fall in
penalty
the
to
water.
boarding actions.
Yeah.
Penalty to boarding actions.
They're going to have like Jean de Clisson in there, the French pirate lady.
I don't know. I would imagine so. But that's it. That's all the stuff I can say for sure. Frontiers is still on there, but if I ever have time to actually work on it. How can I forget? How can I forget the big thing? So the biggest thing. So we finally solidified a new material, a new resin material, an injected molded resin that's going to be produced domestically here in the States. That's going to allow us to do a whole bunch of cool new stuff, including individual ships for Oak and Iron. So,
nice.
as well as the new ships for Oak and Iron. So you're going to see a lot of new releases for Oak and Iron, and a lot of the Blood and Plunder range getting converted over to resin this year.
Now, is this one of the hard resins, or is this like one of the softer resins that like bends?
It's a softer resin. It's almost like it's similar to PVC, but so far with our experiments we have not. It doesn't really warp on its own like PVC does. So it's not like you'll get bendy guns or anything like that without doing so on purpose. We have a sample of an Oak and Iron ship that we cast, and I have it out here left it in my car on the dashboard in our 85-degree Miami sunlight, and it got a little soft, but it didn't actually bend. It kept its shape. So I was very pleased with the results, and we're gonna go forward with that, which is good because that gives us the ability to create these things and to be able to support that game more in the way we've wanted to since the beginning. But the state of the world has prevented us from doing so. So I'm really, really excited to have that ready to start rolling here pretty soon. So this stuff's probably all going to be this material switchover will probably start happening around the springtime. We'll probably see the first thing. So Oak and Iron has the highest priority on that right now because that poor game has suffered with being launched at the worst time possible in human history, within our lifetimes anyway, and then us not being able to execute on any releases, despite the fact that we've got a ton of new sculpts ready, and ships designed and expansions ready to go, but no way to put them out. So I'm excited to be able to do that this year.
Well, you got a busier year than I expected you guys were going to have. And
yeah, saying it out loud gives me a lot of anxiety.
I also think that people who are listening to this will appreciate the fact that we front loaded all the cool spoilers and stuff. So if you don't want to hear us celebrate failure, which is what the next section of this podcast is about, then you can tune yourselves out at this point, because we're getting into
Before we get to that, though,
Yeah, I have questions.
before we get to that,
fire away.
I had a question. This might be a spoiler, it might not be. But when Mike sent out the pictures of the ship sprue.
Yes.
Oh, Tyler, were you gonna ask the same thing?
Yes.
We spied a miniature. Like, there's a guy on there.
Yeah, that's
is that
that won't be there actually. That's a mistake that they made. Because
we got excited. Leave it there.
I know. Well, that's Maynard.
Like,
that's Maynard. So I don't know how many Robert Maynards you need, but yeah. So
we thought it might just be like a bonus generic captain model,
or like a helmsman. Yeah.
No, now. Unfortunately, I actually thought about that, and I said, man, we had the room. We could do something cool like that, like some kind of unique figure, but I won't, just because I don't. We're so close to Chinese New Year. I just don't want to delay the project for something like that. Because with our luck, we'll do that, and it should be an easy thing to implement. But with our luck, what'll happen is it'll cause a 3-month delay. So I'm gonna leave it alone. Just they're gonna plug that up and fix that, and then we're gonna go forward with how it is. So.
You can throw that in next time. Just have like a Davy Jones part of the ship, part of the crew kind of thing going on for the next kit.
There you go.
So that was my first question, because Glenn and I were both looking, and we each had our theories as to what that figure might be.
I was wondering if people were going to bring that up. I haven't seen anything on Facebook or Kickstarter about it yet, so I was like, I'm surprised nobody's brought that up. I almost didn't share that picture because of that, but the sprue looks too nice. I was like, nah, you gotta show it.
It does look really good. If anyone's in the Kickstarter and hasn't gone to check it out.
That's actually just one of the sprues. The other ones, for some reason, the pictures came out really low resolution, so I didn't want to put them on the Kickstarter update. But there's 4 total sprues for the ship.
Oh, cool. Yeah, this is just the 2 main halves of the hull, it looks like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been a while since I ordered this, and I went all in on it. It's the most money I've ever spent on a game at one time.
Yeah,
and I forgot I bought it all. And so, because I know it's coming, and I know all the stuff, and we've been updated, and you've kept us posted pretty well. But it's funny because I know it's going to come, and my wife's going to look at this box, and she's going to be like, "What have you done?" And I'll be like, "It's already paid for." Like, yeah, I didn't buy new stuff. This was purchased a year ago. It's cool. It's cool.
It's occurring to me that if the ship is 4 sprues, it sounds like the starter set alone is going to have 15 sprues in it.
It's going to have 12,
I think.
4, 8, 13. I think it's going to have 14, including the commanders and the bases and stuff.
Okay.
I think it's going to have 14 sprues.
Oh, I thought there would only be four sailors to a sprue.
No, it's 6 sailors to a sprue, and you get 4 sailors.
Okay, that's where my math got messed up.
Yeah. So you get 12 total sailors on each side, so 24 total, and you get the 2 commanders.
Since I knew I got the sailors in the starter box, I think I bought all the extra boxes or whatever, and so I made them almost all militia or soldiers. So I'm just basically making the English army to fight the French and Indian War. That was like my intent with it.
Nice.
So I didn't get any of the natives, but I wanted to. But yeah, because I'm building mostly a North American list. It'll go with
Let me
Mike's
tell
book.
you, the cool thing about the natives is that there's African head options for all of them, so you could also run them as Maroons, which is cool. The same thing is true of the militia. The militia could all be run as Africans, so you can mix the two up and get a really good like Caribbean Maroon, like Jamaican Maroon force.
Somebody in the
Nice.
Discord was just asking about that. If there was a force
they
that
were.
they should run for Maroons and what models there would be out for it. And we
That
have
was
the
the reason-
force.
Yeah, the Maroons will be in the book as well. This is Razor Black book. There'll be a pretty big feature of it. So I don't know if we've advertised that very well, because it's kind of like something we know a lot internally and think we just take it for granted and we forget that people aren't in all our internal discussions. So I think we need to. We actually talked about changing the name of the box to the Africans or Maroons / natives or something like that. So, but I don't know. It may be too late for that because it's already in all the distribution channels and such. But it's not really too late. We can do whatever the hell we want. So, but we'll see.
The other question that I had was on the new material, because there's been some resin stuff knocking around currently that's similar to like the Phalanx models, because they switched over to.
Yes, it's not that.
It's not that material. Okay.
No, that's a like people are basically creating their own resin formulas that are 3D printed models. That's what those are.
Okay.
Which is great. I mean, that material is really good. The problem with that material, the only reason it doesn't work is it's just too slow and too fiddly. There's a lot of like little like if you get it just takes too long. You need to have too many printers. It's good for short run stuff. Like that's what we're doing for the Fire and the Frontier stuff. So that's it's great for small run things like that, but it doesn't really work for large volumes. As it is, we're having a hard time keeping up with the amount of orders we have for it. Which
and seeing
delay. But it's
seeing those models.
Yeah.
At Historicon, they're definitely solid. Like the material's good.
Yeah.
So you're just it's more like for a hobbyist to print with, or not.
Yeah,
Great for
I
mass production.
would say it's like a step above like what a hobbyist would do because there's a lot more that goes into it. But it's very similar to that though. The difference is like the biggest difference is these guys mix their own materials and come up with a resin concoction that is durable, holds good quality, isn't gonna be really brittle and break easy, stuff like that, you know. So, but we're really. I wish we could do it on a larger scale and faster because the results are really great. But no, the new material is very similar to what a few other companies have started switching to this. I believe Battlefront did a few is using the material. Plastic Soldier Company, I think, uses it. Now, there's been some companies that have used it and not done a great job with it, so I'm reluctant to point out individual ones because they didn't. Because I've seen people use it well and people use it poorly, and when it's done poorly, it's got really horrendous mold lines and stuff, which put me off to it at first. But then I realized that that's just the error on the part of those companies not having good quality control. But I saw some when I got our samples done. I was very happy with what we had. So, and I'm actually super excited about it because it's going to let us do. It doesn't have a mold cost associated with it, like similar to the 3D prints when we do it. So it's going to allow us to turn around a lot more new projects and new models faster. And so once we get our initial range converted over, it's going to just allow us to do a whole lot more and be a lot more flexible. So I'm really looking forward to getting it rolling. It just can't happen fast enough.
So will that translate to like, let's say, more fire starters, or just more direct release because you don't need to bother with a fire starter?
We won't even need fire starters. Are kind of redundant for us at this point, for the most part, because we have the mold cost is typically what we try to cover, and the sculpting cost. But now that we have an in-house sculptor, and that we're eliminating mold costs with the new material, there's not really a need for it. So we can just kind of utilize the existing assets we have to just turn these things around. So once we catch up with ourselves, and once I get this Kickstarter out from underneath us and everything else, we can really start. I think we're going to start to be a little lighter on our feet and be able to turn around more projects more quickly.
I hear nothing but good news. This sounds awesome. I'm kind of excited to see what you guys start putting out with it once the main line gets converted.
Yeah, I mean, it's what's great is the sky's the limit, right? We could do all kinds of oddball stuff, and since there's not really any high-end costs associated with it, like one of the things we threw around working on Fire on the Frontiers is we could do like snowshoe militiamen and Native Americans, right? Like set up in winter gear as just kind of like a short-run thing. Again, because it's just a matter of sculpting time. So, we could do a lot of cool limited releases for stuff like that. That's a lot more specialized. So, I'm looking forward to that.
You guys are going to take all my money.
I'm surprised there's any left, Tyler.
Yeah, seriously.
I almost forgot. I haven't been in the office in like 2 weeks of the stupid COVID. But we have a new ship as well. It's actually sculpted and ready to go. So you'll probably see it. And we got a new resin provider we actually got better resin. Our old supplier was kind of getting flaky on us, so we switched over to some better material, which I've been eyeballing for a long time. So now my resin supply issues are sorted. So the Bastion, which I know Joseph Forster is listening right now, waiting for me to talk about the Bastion. The Bastion for the fort will be out, and a new ship will be out in resin. I'm just waiting for us to catch up with ourselves. So once we get the Fire on the Frontier stuff out, we'll start to get the wheels turning on the rest of that. I got to get the card design. The ship sculpt is done, but I still have to play test it a little bit and make sure it works the way it needs to be.
Is this the Barca Longa by chance?
That is the Barco Luengo, yeah.
Yeah, that'll be really fun.
I don't know if people can hear this on their end, but as he was talking about the new ship, as soon as Glenn said, "What?" I could see him in his basement using his thumb to measure out the spot where the ship was going to go, or the 4 ships that he was going to buy of that particular model, and which shelf.
Actually, I was measuring for a catch. I think the Barca Longa will fit just fine.
It's about the size of a bark. It's a little lower in the water. So this is kind of like this is a really cool ship because it's like it's different from anything else we have.
If you like playing Spanish Corsarios, this is the boat for you.
Oh man.
It rows really well. It's got 2 forward-facing guns, and then it's got 4 guns in the quarterdeck and 4 swivels.
Oh.
So,
are you limiting the forward-facing guns to lights?
No. The quarterdeck guns have to be lights, but the forward-facing guns can be medium guns.
Oh man.
Yeah. This got spoiled on one of the paint nights a while ago.
Yeah, that's been being developed for a while. So this was an interesting experiment because this is a digitally sculpted ship that we then 3D printed, and then we cast the 3D print. The second time we do that. We did that with a Piragua before, but back then, I mean, it's crazy to think it's not really been that long ago, but back then, 3D printing technology wasn't what it is now. So we had to make a ship in 2 pieces, and then glue it together, and then fill it, and then it was just a nightmare. So I swore I'd never do it again. But now with the new larger resin printers, we were able to actually print the whole thing, just barely. We pushed the envelope of what the machine can print, but we made it work. So it still requires a little bit of cleanup on the where the supports are and stuff, but it's not really. It's pretty looks pretty good for the most part. So it's very minimal, and we could clean it up and fix it real easy to get it ready to make a master. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to trying it. I haven't actually been able to play a game with it because just as the final was done, I got stuck at home, so I haven't been able to do anything with it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that ship because it is going to be a lot of fun. The Corsairs rules with the extra rowing speed is going to be hilarious, I think.
Yeah, this
I've
thing's
been
gonna
playing
be.
a lot of Spanish and a lot of Portuguese and sea battles for some reason lately.
I see this being a boarding monster already.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's definitely set up for that.
All right, maybe we should get to the meat of the episode.
The back half.
That wasn't
Yeah.
maybe good. That's totally
No
fine.
No one cares about updates. They want to hear how we fail at life.
That's what I'm here for.
So when last we gathered around the council fire to discuss our goals for the year, we had no idea what 2021 would bring us, but we knew that 2020 had brought us a real pile of things. And I think there was some good stuff. There's some good notes in 2021. I think we got to meet each other again in person. We got to do Historicon. We talked about that. So I think, do you want me to go first or do you want me to go last since I had the biggest pile of stuff to try to do? What do you think?
I mean, you had a mountain of things
Yeah, I had
to
a mountain.
conquer. Yeah.
Okay, so let's go over the rules. Okay, so we're going to start with last year. And Mike is the judge. Okay, so
And we agreed on these rules last year.
we did. We did.
I
agree
don't know
on
why
this.
we made this a bet.
Whoever is the most successful with their resolutions gets to pick one resolution for each of the other podcasters. And Mike will be the judge as to who he thought was the most successful. Okay. Whoever finishes dead last,
Out of three.
Yeah, out of three. So so you're saying there's a chance. Whoever finishes dead last, my suggestion is that they will have to act as the assistant and partner to one of the other podcasters running a convention game. Basically, you're a gopher, and you can be given tasks and stuff like that. Like you might have to build a piece of terrain, or we can iron it out later. But that person would be the designated gopher for a convention game. I feel like that was a fair, not terrible punishment. Because last year's punishment was climbing Mount Everest, which I succeeded at, by the way. But we'll get to that. All right, so Mike, just listen carefully, and you'll get to decide who's the winner, who's the loser. I've
already decided. Should I spoil it now or?
No, you save it. Save it. I'll save it. All right. All right. Let's do Glenn first.
Oh, me first? Okay.
Yeah, let's throw Glenn up there.
All right. Well, I'd like to point out that when we recorded last year, it was the end of 2020. I had a 2.5-month-old baby at the time, and I figured that 2021 with 2 kids, I'd have some time. And then shortly into 2021, we found out that we were expecting again. So my time got cut a bit. So
that said, I think you didn't do that bad.
I did okay.
Let's go. Let's give the rundown. What were your goals?
I had a strong first half of the year, and then I petered out at the end because other things just started taking over. So
let's go down the line and say yes or no. If you succeeded or failed.
For painting goals, I wanted to get Dutch and Spanish forces painted, 150 points each. I achieved that. I did the Spanish forces in a month when we had the
we did it together. We did it together. Basically.
Yeah, I painted 60 models that month or something stupid. It was insane. And I feel like I haven't painted anything since. Slight exaggeration. I also want to get a pair of World War I forces done, 50 models each. This should tell you that I did not crack open the book before I made that bet, because I could have gotten away with 30 models each. Either way, only my Germans got about 35 models painted. The French are sitting here in front of me, primed. That's it. And I need to do about 15 additional models for both forces. So that didn't happen. And then have at least one of each Firelock ship completed. This was an over-the-moon goal. And there it stays. Because while I have acquired one of each Firelock ship, I think I completed painting 2 additional ships this year. And that was it. I did not get... I didn't even get finished painting my frigate, which I started. It's about halfway done.
I think you still owe me a longboat, so you're like in debt.
Yeah, I've seen Tom twice this year since I've owed him a longboat, and I still haven't gotten it to him.
Look, we postponed it long enough. Okay, eventually you got to pay it up.
Well, I owe him stuff too. To be fair,
Yeah,
I owe him quite a few. We'll get to that.
There's some mutual owing here. My second, well, that was the first category. So 3 goals there. My fourth goal was to finish my port raid con scenario, at least writing it, which I did. I have that written out. The forces aren't exact because it still needs a little bit more play testing, but the scenario itself is written. That is done, ready to go. I could, if we had a convention coming up, if I can get the models done, it'll happen. But right now, my next convention is looking like Historicon.
Cool.
Because Cold Wars has been canceled. Hooray!
Yeah.
And then finally, it was not lose a monthly painting bet to Tom, which I think I lost June.
We are the champions, my friend.
I lost
yeah,
one.
To your credit, you only lost one. So I'd even give you like a yellow instead of a red on it, because really, I mean, yes, it's a black and white goal, but you held on pretty solid, and I lost a lot. So I mean, you're the reason I bought a $400 Conquistador costume, which I will still be wearing, by the way. My armor came from Northern Macedonia. So I imagine it's forged from depleted NATO uranium shells.
I thought they
makes
just
it stronger.
didn't they just pick it up off of an old Macedonian pikeman that they found buried somewhere?
If I'm lucky, it's like something that Mitch left behind when he was part of Operation.
Oh no, I don't think that's if you're lucky. I think that's if you're.
That would be the
incredibly
unfortunate
talking about-
circumstance.
Yeah, you better go get
hardware.
some serious shots if you picked up something.
Keep it clean.
Hose it off good.
So for those of us keeping score at home, Glenn succeeded twice, and he failed 3 times. Okay, right?
Unless you're giving me that yellow, which would be 2, 2, and 1.
I'm gonna give you the yellow. We're gonna give you a draw on that because I really feel
All
like
right.
it's a valiant. It's a good faith effort. All right. So it's 2, 2, and a draw. All right.
Got it.
Tyler, you want to go next? Or you want me to go next?
I can go next because you definitely have the longest and most
I have a long one, yeah.
satisfying list. I think.
I'll talk fast, but go ahead.
I try to collect one of everything from Firelock. I managed that with the proviso that I have one of everything that's in production. I mentioned that Preston, that's 3, so he'll be here shortly. I mentioned that he sent me custom minis, and when he was in Florida and hanging out with Mike, there was a box of the missing English militia from the early Kickstarter, the really early sculpt. And they have since gone on to greater causes.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, they're no longer wearing Montero caps. They're probably French flibustier or something by now.
Yeah,
But-
we looked. See if we can find some. See if we can find the old mold. But it looks like no such luck.
Yeah, it's all good. I actually came really close before the new year, or it might have been right after New Year. I was working with Tom to split up an order, and it got sold out from under us. Someone was reselling one of the Kickstarters. But yes, so I do have one of everything. I have one of each of the ships, and I have almost all of it painted. I think there's 2 units of 4 because I have the pikemen and the bucaniera to paint. And there are some of the captains that I still need to paint up, and then I need to paint my galleon and my 6th rate.
I feel like there's a lot of success contained in that resolution because you really, that was a big one. That's a big win.
Yeah,
I enjoy working on the Firelock stuff a lot. If I start digging into other game backlogs that I have, I'm going to be lost in a void.
I'm actually a little disappointed that you guys did that lot.
Yeah, I really kind of wanted that.
Yeah, I was prepared to buy 3/4 of it from you. Basically, I'm like, give me everything except this the hat. You keep the hat. So I was ready to go. Anyway.
So my second one was to build a modular table. I don't know why I yellowed that. I'm building the 2x2 table. I think might be why I yellowed that one out. More for like frontiers and very small demos. I did not finish that 2x2 table. I definitely didn't finish a modular table. And I think based on how I play at this point, mostly traveling, mostly going to conventions and things like that, I don't want to have to carry a modular table into a convention hall ever. So I think I'm just going to scratch that one off. Like, I didn't hit it last year, but I'm not redoing it this year or anything. And like Glenn, I intended to have 2 Blood and Valor forces done. I wanted to have my Anzacs and my Ottomans and Turks to play some Gallipoli fights. My Anzacs are mostly finished. I did have them with me at Historicon as a ringer if somebody needed them. My Turks are still very shiny, so I didn't get that one done. And learn to love competitive play, because going into this year, I hadn't really played in any of the Firelock tournaments other than, I think, 1 C tournament. 1 or 2 maybe. The ship tournaments. So I was always leaning more towards I wanted to play the historical scenarios and like Glenn's Port Raid and things like that. Those have always been more fun to me than playing tournaments. I helped out with the Iron Man. I played an entire Oak and Iron tournament. My enjoyment of that tournament might be somewhat due to the fact that I didn't realize that you upped the points on flutes slightly.
Here we go.
So yeah, I was running 2 of them. So however many points they went up, that was how many points I was over by.
They went up by 20 points each.
Oh wow, yeah, I broke that one.
I just
That's like Tom level failure. Today with this 300 points.
They went up a point each.
2 points each. Yeah.
2 points each. That's not so bad. I could have lost like my musketeers off of them. But anyway, so I did that. I played some really, really nasty Blood and Plunder lists, both with and against, just because of the group that we have around here and liking to break rules. So I did actually enjoy it, and I played the back half of the Blood and Valor tournament, which was pretty funny. I played a game and a half. So yeah, I did enjoy my time with tournaments, but we did not run the super cool historical narrative tournament that we had been kicking around, unfortunately. That I think got replaced by the super successful Iron Man that we ran.
Yeah, which is a great trade-off. So I don't think
that's the convention season got shortened again, and we had to do everything in one setting instead of having multiple conventions to do things with.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's based on what we've got on your notes. You're 2-2.
Yeah.
All right.
I definitely cheated out and set myself some easy ones because I felt like you guys were shooting for the moon, and we'll see how that goes when we get to yours because you have a long list.
So, all right. Down the list we go. create the following pieces of terrain in 28mm. Jungle scatter terrain times 8. Fail. I did not do that. I started the bases of them, but I ran out of spackle, got lazy, and didn't finish them. I should have cut them into smaller pieces, but lesson learned. I think I got a system. We'll see how it goes this year. Build treasure chest objectives times 10. I built 30 of these things, and I gave most of them away as prizes during the summer campaign we had this year. So a bunch of people that were posting battle reports for the Spanish got some stuff in the mail. Most of them were in Canada, so I learned about the wonders of international shipping. But these I thought they turned out really nice, so I was happy with them. So that's a success. So 1 success, 1 fail. Resin River system. Nope, didn't even start it. A small port with a dock. 3 buildings and water effect required. I built 1 building. Did not finish water effect. Did not build the port dock. Okay. 2, have a 3x3 custom made terrain board to do demos with. This is an epic fail. I did not even start it. I've just been using a cigar box pullout and then putting on the scatter terrain that I have. So my terrain was largely a wash. I did not succeed at any of them. So this is 3 failures so far and 1 success regarding the terrain. But then I start to get a couple of wins in there.
Wait, hold on. I just want to point out, am I the only person in like between us and our friend of the show that didn't try to make a custom terrain board?
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, and we
You're
need to maybe have a discussion about that when we get to like potential challenges for how we want to do things in the new year.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think we have some plans for that. We have some plans for that.
I mean, these days with how great all the mats are, why bother?
Yeah, they're pretty good.
Yeah, anyone that was at Historicon and saw pictures of the demo game or played on that demo board, that was your terrain, Tom. I mean, I was running a demo on it, and one of the guys from the Military Miniatures, I think is the name of the magazine, stopped by. I was like, "Can I just take pictures?" I'm like, "It's not set up. I'm between games." I tried to do you some justice and have it look all cinematic, but
Oh, that's fine. I was just psyched that they took the picture. It's cool.
We had a lot
yeah,
of
it's a
requests
really
for
good looking
demos.
table.
After you guys set that up, we had a ton of requests for demos, so we had to set up another demo table that was not nearly as nice.
It was the
Well,
ski games in the back corner, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I ran
I'll
a
keep
few
building
on that.
terrain because I'll have enough to run 2 full demo tables next time for sure. Because I already have I built a whole
Ooh.
Spanish coastal fort, which is basically done. I've been showing these guys pictures of it, so they've seen it.
I have an idea for the next one. You guys could build some terrain boards for the demos.
Mm-hmm.
I'm down for that. Down for that.
Wait, whoa, where'd that idea come from?
Dun, dun,
No,
dun.
and honestly, the World War I trench boards that you guys have, the 2 3x3s.
Those are beautiful.
Well, one's a
too,
trench, the other one's a town. But
Oh.
those are pretty impressive
They're
boards
both
too.
gorgeous. Yeah, they're both absolutely
Well,
gorgeous.
One of those was Chris of Phalanx Consortiums. The village one was his. He laser cut
Oh.
all like the little blocks sections and put all the terrain in bits and stuff. And
For
then
people who haven't seen it, it's like a 3 foot by 3 foot section of, let's call it a French town, where there's like row houses going down a street, and then there's another diagonal street that comes in. There's a church ruins. Like, there's a lot of built up terrain on this board.
To
the point where, like,
it's a beautifully laid out board.
It's
in
awesome,
terms
yeah.
of
Mhm.
how he thought it through. It's really impressive. So that's the kind of thing I want. Even though I know Mike's right, and you're better off just getting, the mat, I guess. Like,
Well, that was just a mat, and then what he did is all the stuff, like all the little, I guess city block sections, right, is all just laser cut MDF.
Yeah, and it's gorgeous. I love all the streets and the cobblestone
Yeah.
stuff. Cool. It turned out
Because
nice.
it's a cobblestone mat, is all it was with that on top.
Okay.
But it
All right,
looks
well,
really
finished-
convincing. It's awesome.
Finish cataloging my failure here. Finished painting my newly ordered Spanish force. Success. I painted, I want to say around 50 to 60 minis because I bought supplemental blisters and I painted them all. They're all done. Win a game of Blood and Plunder. That actually happened for the first time in 2.5 years.
Wow.
I'm playing the game. Write 8 articles this year. I did succeed in doing that. Some of them were little updates or quickies, and I'm counting the podcasts that I edited myself and posted as an article to get me to 8 because I had 7. But I think that's fair because it took me like 4.5 hours to do it. Run a game at a convention should one occur. We helped to run the Ironman, so I'm giving myself credit for that.
Mm-hmm.
Treasure hoard for Mike at the first convention we go to. I had it for you and didn't give it to you. So I'm giving myself a draw on it because I have one of those little objectives for you. It's all
If
done.
I don't have it, it's a
But I
strike.
made it.
Mike
But I
giving you a
made it. So I'm not giving myself a win, but I don't want to give myself a loss. But I probably shouldn't say that to the judge.
Why didn't you give it? Why didn't you give it to him?
Just
I just forgot.
malice and spite.
I forgot. Rufus was busy talking about something unrelated, and I got distracted. Rufus told me, sorry, Mike told me how to climb Mount Everest. I did that. There's a picture of it up on the website. It was tough. It was hard, but I
Oh, you posted it to Facebook?
I did post it to Facebook. So it's posted on our webpage. It's on the Node Dice. It's the Tales of the Sale one. So that gives me 1, 2, 3, 4 fails, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 successes and a draw. So I'm 6 and 4 and 1. And Mike, you played the game too. Your personal goal was 1 of every model painted before release, and you said you succeeded, right?
I did. It was 3D prints, but I'm gonna give myself credit for that.
And then the other Firelock related ones were deliver the Kickstarter in 2021 and 3 satellite releases. But we talked about this before we started recording, and we, after having multiple conversations with you both on the podcast and off, feel that you've done everything you could have done to get it out, and the stuff that happened was really beyond your control. So we gave you a wash on both. So you are 1-0 with 2 draws.
Yeah, and specifically, I'd like to blame Rufus and Eric Hansen for not completing the games I thought would be done on time. So
that's beautiful.
I'd like to especially call them out by name to put forth my blame for not completing those things. So
this is intended as a forum for violence and for making fun of Rufus. So we're good with that for sure. All right. So
this is actually our Festivus episode.
This is our Festivus episode. So with that said, Mike has a choice to make. Mike has to decide who the winner and who the loser is. And to kind of recap this, I tried for more, but failed as much as the other two put together. Several of the ones that they succeeded at were big ones, but I did have a lot of successes. So this is tight. So Mike, tell us who the winner is.
Well,
or we could start with who the loser is.
You mean who the loser is really? Because there'll be 2 winners and 1 loser, right?
That's kind of fair. Yeah, that's basically how it is.
Yeah. So Tom, you set the bar pretty high. I mean, nobody really believed you were gonna do half that stuff, but you did about half of that, so that's pretty good. It's not bad. Tyler, I felt like set the bar real low for himself. However, his bar did involve him buying lots of stuff from me, so that raises the bar significantly for me. So, because I'm not above being bribed.
Yeah, there was a galleon on that list.
Yeah, there was a galleon on there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's okay. That bumps you up quite a few notches. So,
question, Tyler: did you buy that galleon with doubloons, or did you buy it in cash?
Yes. There was a combination involved in that one, but yes, I didn't.
Okay. I'm just trying to undermine.
I put in sweat equity, Tom. No.
Go on, Mike. That's cool.
I wrote some articles. No, it's fine.
Yeah. So, and then
to be fair, every time I make a doubloons order, it turns into about double that in cash, also. So.
Yeah. So Glenn set the most reasonable goals of all of you, I feel like.
What? Okay.
You don't think so? Aside
I'd
from
agree with
painting
that.
every ship.
I'd agree.
Aside from
Paint.
painting every ship, that was a little out there, but you didn't have a lot of other goals really. So
200 minis plus the ships.
yeah, and 365 days though. So
Oh
you know.
yeah. Mini like every other day. Yeah.
So so I don't know. This is a pretty tough call, but I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna have to go ahead and declare Tom the winner of the losers for just setting the bar too high and having to pay the price, and because I don't actually believe you climb Mount Everest.
That the picture is the picture. It didn't happen. There's a picture there. I look really happy, but
But
I'm
because you
actually
didn't have a
sad.
total, the highest you had, as you noted, you had more failures combined than the rest of them put together. So
Yeah, that's a fair point.
so that was it was close. It was close. It really could have gone either way. This was you guys all screwed it up pretty badly. So
Okay.
could have gone in a direction, but I have to give it to you, Tom. Unfortunately.
So I'm on the bottom. So the question is, who is the winner between Glenn and Tyler that gets to dish out resolutions?
So between Glenn and Tyler, I'm probably gonna have to go with Glenn on that one. I think Glenn. I'll pace Tyler by a little bit, especially considering all the child and animal rearing and stuff that was happening in between as well. So I think Glenn edged you up by a little bit there, Tyler.
Oh,
Just a little.
I pulled
really
this off.
Totally fair.
I
Yeah.
think that's really fair because Glenn is in a position where he's powerless. He's going to be screamed at by many children,
Yeah.
and I'm willing to take it on the chin and accept whatever horrifying goals he's going to set for me. So I think that's fair. I'm happy
Oh
with that.
man.
Happy with that. Glenn,
Now I
would you
have to
like
come
me
up with resolutions.
Well, you
Yeah,
Oh.
see, I actually
Glenn,
won here. I
you
have to
think
do the
about it.
least.
Let us know by the next podcast what you're adding to our pile, because we got to go through this coming year's resolutions. So Tyler hasn't thought of any yet, but while he's thinking,
I wouldn't even
okay,
told
I'm
me
going
this
to go
was a
through
section of the
mine
show
for next year.
notes.
There's a whole section of the notes. That's what the notes are for.
Did you
I
not
know.
read the show notes, Tyler?
Did I open the show notes before the show?
Nonsense. All right. So while Tyler thinks quickly about what his entire year is going to look like,
Yeah.
Literally the first one.
so as the loser, I will commit to being somebody's second at a convention game should they run it. So Glenn, if you want me to build terrain for you, you get to kind of set me on that. You can even give me a goal that's related to the convention game that might help you run should the convention happen at Historicon.
You could send him to Adepticon in your stead.
That's maybe. I gotta check my schedule. We'll see.
Anybody going to a Adepticon would have to be in my stead because I'm not making that.
You're not going. All right. So
No, I know.
Tom's goals. Number 1. Paint an entire English starter box or French starter box. I don't have them yet, but I wanted to keep collecting armies. Number 2, fully paint the Dutch box that I bought to supplement what I already have. It's another whole Dutch starter box. So my first 2 goals are to paint entire starter boxes for major factions. 3, paint and rig the 6th rate that I have. 4, host or co-host a convention game. And at this point, I'll ask, does hosting the tournament count? Or we're going to say no on that one.
I mean, I would say gophering for a convention game would count as co-hosting at this point.
Now, I'll point out that I did not know that that's what I was going to be doing when I was dealt the loss here. So
fair, but I'd still say it counts.
Okay. All right, cool. All right. Write an article per month, and I get a freebie. So basically 11 articles instead of 8.
Oh, I thought you were saying it was a freebie on the list. I was like, no, you've failed this one several years.
No. So I need to write 11 articles. I need to write an article a month. Mitch will be happy about that as a goal, but he'll then complain that I probably am not going to do it anyway. And he'll belittle me personally over the internet. All right. 6, port table constructed and painted. This does not need to be a display board. I need a pier that can dock 3 ships, 3 buildings fully painted and assembled, and 6 pieces of new scattered terrain of any type that I want. They could be ruins, they could be jungle, they could be what have you. So so 6 goals, kind of it's 9, but goal 6 has like 3 little sub goals. So I'm trying to narrow it down a bit from last year, but it's still a pile of stuff to paint. I'm trying to be ambitious because I got the whole year, and I'm looking forward to getting some paint and some terrain built. So that's me. So Glenn, let's walk us through yours if you think you're ready.
I'm ready, but I also have yours if you want your additional goal.
Let's do an additional goal.
I want you, and I will cajole you into the system I would prefer, although I don't want to do it right now. I want you to pick a system or a period that you're not already currently working on. So whether it's, I don't even know if you have a Blood and Valor Force, or Blood and Steel, or Blood and Crowns, or one of the future expansions that has yet to be announced that people might be playtesting, and do a force for that. 20, and by force, I'm going to define it as at least 24 minis.
Okay. So I have the Blood and Valor starter box, but it's literally in the box. So that's a possibility. I could paint my French up and have it ready to go.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I like that as a goal. It's a good goal. All right. So your goals for this year are what?
Although, like I said, I will probably harangue you to do a system I'm working on.
That's fine. That's fine. We'll see how much is on my plate. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Oh, come on. There's only like 4 starter boxes on here.
Yeah.
Speaking of starter boxes, my first goal is to build and paint the starter set whenever it arrives, so that I have my demo group set thing that I've been looking forward to for a year and a half now.
Ooh,
So
yeah. That's a good one.
Yeah, it's a self-contained goal. Everything in the box has to be built and painted.
It's a good quartermaster grow the game goal.
It
So
is. And I
goal.
can section it out, like get, the captain's done. Do one crew, do another crew, do a ship, do another ship. Is there any other stuff in that box, Mike, that we're not thinking of? Like, is it come with any terrain or gubbins or anything like that?
For the plastic box?
Yeah.
The starter.
Not that you'll have to paint. No. There'll be some 2-dimensional terrain stuff, like a
okay.
and a paper mat and stuff like that.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you included like some barrels or something, but if they're just 2D.
There is, but not in the box. It's part of the box of plunder.
Right. I was just
So
thinking, man, I know there's other stuff.
Yeah. Obviously, there's the cannons and anchors for the ship and whatnot, but that's part of the ship. Really.
Oh yeah, all the ship accessories.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm only setting 2 goals because I'm a bum, and I was trying to be realistic in my goal setting, knowing now that I have 3 kids and not a moment's peace. Which is build and paint enough troops to test the Napoleonic era expansion for Blood and Plunder that I'm working on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We were just talking about that the other day, actually.
Wait, you guys were independent of me?
Yeah, my partner Alex was saying, who's working on, you said there's somebody working on a Napoleonic thing? And I was like, yeah. He's like, what's up with that? Why isn't he done? And I was like, well, he just started it like a month ago.
Just started it, 3 kids. It's 100 years from now, so like it's got to be at least 3 books away. Like, I figured you guys would have stuff in between. Now I'm being dumb and I'm starting at like Waterloo and then working backwards. I probably should start with like the Peninsular War or the American Revolution or something, but we'll get there.
So I will politely point out that we're pretty loaded and we're approaching the limit of time that I can upload this stuff. So I think we need to get into Tyler's and Mike's and then do the quiz thing really fast. So Tyler, you've got your stuff listed, right?
I can bang through these pretty quick.
Let's do it. You're ambitious like me. You went for 6.
I went for 6. I want to finish painting my oak and iron fleets and ideally have them rigged. I want oak and iron terrain. I've got 2 boxes of some 3D printed stuff. I don't know that I'll use those, but I want some 3D terrain on the table, not just the cardboard cutouts.
We got some stuff coming for that.
Nice. Yeah, take my money. I want to rig all of my Blood and Plunder ships. If anyone has seen my stuff, a lot of my pictures, they're unmasted. Just because I haven't committed to how I want to do those yet. I want to do either an article or tutorial each month on the main site just to make the boss happy. I'd like to finish my collection of old school GW Bretonians, or I guess now French for Blood and Crowns. Since I have a reason to use them in a game that is currently supported by a company. Like to run another convention-sized narrative game. The way things have been going, I have no idea if I'll be able to make it to a convention. I'd like to do something like maybe Blackbeard outside of Charleston if things had gone hot. Give people the Blackbeard that they wish they had. And I would like to successfully complete a Bolshevik revolution on the tabletop with the Russian Red Army for Blood and Valor. Since I doubt that that's going to materialize in anything that's not 28 millimeter miniatures.
I'd like to thank you for finishing that sentence and not leaving it to hang out like meatball, because you almost just said successfully complete a Bolshevik revolution, and then you did not fill in the rest.
Exactly.
That's just a yearly goal too for Tyler.
It's just
you just post this up and they're like, and that's another 30-day ban.
Ready for number 7, Tyler?
Number 7, baby.
What do you got?
I think, and you'll have to articulate this into a smarter sentence for a goal, but
do the word stuff.
I think you should,
do the word stuff real good.
Yeah, I think you should try to do something with the Mid-Atlantic Firelock group that you've got on Facebook if you're ever unbanned, and try to get a game day set up or a mega battle or something to get the group together. We've got all year. At some point, we'll all either be dead from COVID or it'll be over.
Are you going to poke your guys with a cattle prod to get them to... Because I've had pretty much all the Pennsylvania guys out.
See, I don't hear anything about it, so...
Yeah.
I don't know. Start tagging me in the comments or something if you guys are...
Okay. Yeah.
Not that I ever have availability, but I think getting
on
the
side of the border out, we had a fairly decent sized naval game.
Nice. Yeah, see, I heard nothing about this, but I don't know if you're just assuming that I'm busy because of, the kids.
Yeah,
pretty safe,
I figured you were probably elbow deep in a cow somewhere, so.
It's possible.
He's only got the one. It's mostly sheep.
Yeah. Actually, we sent the cow home, but it started getting rude.
Oh.
Just walked through an electric fence, and we saw it across the creek over at the neighbors, and had to convince it to come back.
We've all been there.
Yeah, haven't we though?
Yeah. So before we got on, Mike gave us some of his Firelock related goals. He wants to get the Kickstarter out. He wants a series of releases for Oak and Iron, which are direct retail, which we just talked about. You want to publish at least 3 new books, and from the looks of things, you got quite a bit in the works. And you want to transition to that new line of resin, or begin transition, I should say.
Hopefully by the end of the year, I'll transitioned over.
Anything else you want to add to the list? I did put Rufus and Kai in an American-style Gladiator Rumble, but I don't know if you want to leave that on there or get rid of it.
That's fine.
Okay, cool.
That's just a Tuesday, so.
Sweet.
What about any other personal goals for you?
No, that's fine. I'll leave it there. I'll just leave it to the things I'm trying to accomplish so that I don't jinx myself any further.
All right, trivia question, Glenn. You take the lead on this one because you filter through all the answers, and I will get a die to roll. I'll be right back.
All right, cool. All right, rules as usual. Email talesofthesail. That is TALES of the SAIL @gmail.com. Before the end of when we record to be eligible for a prize. Wow, that's a word jumble. See, Tyler, I can't word good. Before the end of the month. Usually I'll try to nudge everybody towards the end of the month, but like I said, things exploded at work, and I forgot. The prize this month, or last month rather, is 2 Bucanera blisters and a blister of bone dice. Probably made from the men that they killed hunting them like pigs or whatever it is that they did.
Bum, bum, bum.
All right. The question, which I tried to get as best I could off the recording from Joe Forster, one of the colonial conflicts covered by Fire in the Frontiers is particularly notable for being the bloodiest war in North American history per capita. Which war was this, and what was the casualty rate? The correct answer was a little hard to define because casualty rate is somewhat nebulous. We weren't sure if it was the combatants proper or all of the population. So pretty much if you name the correct war and gave a casualty rate number that was reasonable, we gave it to you. I think somebody suggested that like half of New England died, and
That was a bit out
I
there.
don't think. Yeah. Sorry, buddy. All right. So King Philip's War, some percentage of whatever qualifier, because that was a little rough.
Yeah, we were
If
getting
you're close,
anything
we gave it to
between
you. There are
yeah, we were
6
getting
folk,
anything
right?
between 10% to 30% of the combatants, depending if you were looking at sides or totals. Joe was looking for the answer of 5% of New England's total population. But I think that was
Right.
even only among the colonies, because it had to have been higher for that on the native side.
I think Joe, brilliant as he is, was so knee deep in the research that he thought this would be easier to get.
Yeah, he was in a wormhole and he didn't realize it.
And I should have put on my teacher cap and helped educate him to let him know you got to make it easy enough for these kids to get it. Otherwise, they'll be filled with rage and they'll put a whoopee cushion in your chair. So we have 6 people, right?
Yep,
So,
6.
Okay. Not Brian Reed. Not Brian Reed. Not Brian Reed. Let's see. Oh, okay. Actually,
Brian
Reed.
Reed.
No. Brian Reed. I like Brian Reed. It's actually Nathan Brown is the winner.
Congrats, Nathan.
Congratulations to Nathan.
Congrats.
We'll reach out to you before this goes live, probably, and ask for your address so we can send you your prize. And to close this puppy off, we tried to make this a little easier this time around because we were so cruel with the previous question. Again, email talesofthesale@gmail.com before we record our next podcast, which will be about a month from now. So we will send out an email reminder. The prize is a blister of capers because I find myself with a surplus of capers since I have a beautifully painted prize for my Secret Santa. So I'm going to give one of my blisters away. So the question.
So I've actually been informed, or I've been told that the correct Dutch pronunciation of that is coppers.
Oh, it's copper. Okay.
Also, I do want to congratulate Nate Brown. The name looked familiar. I looked at my records, and congratulations on also being the first person to win trivia twice.
Ooh, cool. Okay. Nicely done. Nice job, Nathan. All right. So the question. In 1628, this Dutch commander captured the last Spanish treasure fleet off the coast of Cuba. His plunder helped finance the Dutch army for 8 months. Who was the commander, and how many men did he lose in the raid where the Spanish ships were seized?
So
again, email that to talesofthesale@gmail.com. We will remind you before the time comes, and the reward is a blister of coppers.
I think you should know this one. This one can be found. Well, the first half of it can be found in the expansion book. Or
Stop helping them.
Yeah.
Stop helping.
Although I do want to say, Tom, to avoid the same thing that we just accused Joe of doing, maybe you wrote the answer down for us in the show notes, but maybe you want to like put the second half of the answer that I'm looking for.
Yeah, he just started typing it behind the scenes.
I confirmed it on 3 different sites, so it should be relatively straightforward to find. Any other parting thoughts? Stuff coming up at Firelock, things to look for. We got a pretty good accounting of it, but any parting words of wisdom from Mr. Tunez?
I think I've shared it all with you guys as far as there's a few other little things, but those are surprises coming. We're staying busy over here. I don't have a moment's rest. That's probably why I got so sick. But yeah, I think this is going to be an exciting year. It seems like a lot of the problems of 2021 are still with us, but they are more manageable now. If that makes any sense. Like shipping is still insanely expensive and slow, but it's not as bad as it was. So things are moving in the right direction. So that's a good thing. So I feel like this might be the year we can finally press our advantage, and all these wheels we've had turning for the last 2 years, we could finally churn this stuff all out. So
All right. So I guess when you're feeling better in a couple of months, when stuff starts to move and the wheels start to turn, we'll have you back in and you can give us kind of an update in a little bit. But you've done good service here, and you've been a really generous guy with your time. So we're really appreciative that you popped on with us so much this year. And we're grateful that you're making an awesome game we love to play.
Happy to do it. And thanks to you guys for doing this. And it's always a good time. And a quick shout out to Adam Horton. We talked about it a little bit. I just wanted to say it again for the awesome Secret Santa thing. I've been watching all the stuff going back and forth. It's super cool. One year I'll participate in it when I have the time to be able to contribute something. So.
Well, I think we're going to help him do more of a push for it because it's always fun. It's cool getting the stuff
awesome.
in the mail.
Yeah,
and Adam's
super
great.
cool. Yeah.
So yeah, we'll do what we can to push it up, talk it up next time, so we can see if we can get it bigger. Because everybody who participates in it always has a good time.
Yeah.
Yep. Quick question for Mike, because this is a good time to bring it up. And I know people have been asking, is Firelock going to be at Adepticon?
Yes. Firelock will be at Adepticon. We've just been dragging our feet with setting up our events, but it's actually all set up now, thanks to Mitch. But we will be there, and we've got another Iron Man going on, I believe, as well as lots of other good stuff. So.
Oh, and are you guys doing the special prize that you did at the Historicon Iron Man?
It might be different, so we're looking at that stuff. So that
nice.
That prize was a lot more work than anticipated. but yeah, we'll see.
Any other conventions or shows that are coming up? I know you guys obviously know your schedule better than I do, and you look at the whole country as opposed to just the Atlantic coast like we look at.
We'll definitely be at Historicon, and we'll definitely be at Recon here in Florida in April. So those are the next 2 shows coming up after Adepticon, and then we'll do some more in the fall, for sure. Crucible and Hurricane here in Florida as well, and possibly a few others. We haven't totally decided yet. I have a feeling we're going to be really busy come springtime, come primetime con season, so we may not do many other shows aside from those, but we'll just see how it goes.
So
cool.
As always, we'll just kind of remind listeners that if you have local events that you'd like to talk up, if you'd like people to kind of pop out to different game stores to try out the game, if you're somebody who wants to give it a shot, then reach out to us. We will keep posting stuff on multiple Facebook pages to see if we can solicit people that want to have us advertise their event. I think that's it.
Yeah, the low price of free.
For free.
We're always happy to push people's stuff.
Bingo. So, Glenn, take us out.
Well, as always, thanks for coming, everybody. It was good to talk to you, and we look forward to hearing from everybody during our community paint nights. The next one should be the 14th, and if the episode's not out by then, the 28th. So we will see you then, and as always, thanks for listening.
Thanks so much for joining the show tonight. Remember to follow us on Twitter at No Dice, No Glory, and keep the conversation going on NoDiceNoGlory.com, now featuring our own message boards. Have a great night, everybody.